Okay, so you want to own an OTT platform, build an app, put thousands of movies and shows behind a login screen, charge people $10 a month, and watch recurring revenue arrive while they sit on the couch. No storefronts, no delivery trucks, no inventory stacked in a warehouse. Just servers, subscriptions, and a library that keeps earning money long after the camera stops rolling. That's the picture in your head. A digital toll booth between people and entertainment. Here's the problem. Almost none of that is how this business actually works. Let's start with the illusion, because the illusion is doing a lot of work here. Streaming reaches billions of people. A successful platform can collect millions of subscribers, generate recurring monthly revenue, and distribute the same piece of content across dozens of countries at almost no physical cost. One hit series can attract customers, dominate social media, sell advertising, and make the platform look unstoppable. Big numbers. The kind of numbers that make a normal person look at a streaming app and think, I want in. But here's the part nobody tells you. An OTT platform is not mainly a technology business. It is a content financing business, a customer acquisition business, an advertising business, a licensing business, and a monthly argument with your users about whether they still feel like paying you. The app is the easy part. The hard part is buying or producing enough content to make people join, keeping it fresh enough that they do not leave, delivering it reliably in every market, and charging more per customer than it costs to acquire and serve them. A platform can have 20 million subscribers and still lose money. It can own a global audience and still be one expensive show away from a terrifying quarter. So how does a business with no shelves, no cash registers, and no physical inventory create durable wealth? That's the entire question this video is going to answer. And the answer has almost nothing to do with the app itself. Let's start with what you're actually buying into. Because OTT platform is one of those phrases that describes several completely different businesses wearing the same play button. There are 4 doors you can walk through. The first is the subscription video on demand platform, or SVOD. Customers pay a monthly fee for a library of films, series, documentaries, or niche programming. This is the purest version of the subscription dream, and also the version most exposed to churn. If the customer finishes the show they joined for, they can leave before the next payment. The second door is AVOD, advertising-supported video on demand. The viewer pays nothing or very little, and advertisers pay for access to the audience. The platform needs scale, viewing hours, accurate targeting, and enough premium inventory to make marketers care. Free is not free. Someone has to fund the servers, rights, moderation, and sales team. The third door is FAST, free ad-supported streaming television. It looks more like traditional cable, with program channels, scheduled blocks, and lean-back viewing. The content may be older, but the economics can be attractive because a library that has already been paid for can generate advertising revenue repeatedly. The fourth door is the bundle. Streaming is attached to a mobile plan, broadband package, credit card, retailer membership, sports subscription, or device ecosystem. The platform may not maximize the standalone monthly fee. It may exist to reduce churn somewhere else or make the larger company harder to leave. Same screen, for completely different financial machines. Now, let's talk about what it costs to get through the front door. This is where the fantasy usually dies. The first mistake new owners make is believing the platform begins with software. It does not. It begins with rights. You need movies, series, sports, news, children's programming, documentaries, or creator content that people actually want. You can license it from studios. You can buy older catalogs. You can commission originals. You can acquire production companies. You can sign exclusive deals. Every path costs money, and every path has a different risk. A license may cost less than an original production, but it expires. A hit show can leave just as customers are beginning to associate it with your brand. An original series gives you more control, but it can take years, require a large production budget, and fail after the first trailer. Live sports can attract enormous audiences, but rights payments can run into billions, and the contract can lock you into paying whether advertising demand is strong or weak. The content bill is not one bill. It is a permanent renewal schedule. Then comes technology. The app has to work on televisions, phones, tablets, consoles, browsers, cars, hotel systems, and devices that use 5 different standards for displaying the same subtitle. It needs authentication, payments, recommendations, parental controls, search, downloads, subtitles, dubbing, customer support, fraud detection, and a video pipeline that can turn one master file into dozens of versions for different bandwidths and countries. The video itself must be encoded, stored, copied, protected, and delivered. Every time a viewer presses play, data travels through a content delivery network. The cost per stream may be small. Millions of streams are not. And then there is security. Premium content attracts piracy, account sharing, credential theft, bots, payment fraud, and people who believe a password belongs to everyone in their household, their cousin's household, and a stranger who lives 3 states away. A serious OTT platform spends continuously on technology just to make the customer feel that nothing technical is happening. That is the first trap. The platform is invisible when it works and publicly humiliated when it does not. Now you've spent money on rights, engineering, cloud services, security, customer support, and marketing. How does anyone make a living doing this? Here's where the whole picture flips. Because the money is not where you think it is. Everyone assumes the platform makes money from subscriptions. That assumption is incomplete. Subscriptions are the front door. The real business is maximizing the lifetime value of a viewer. Lifetime value is the amount of gross profit a customer generates over the entire time they remain active. If a user pays $12 a month but costs $80 to acquire, support, and serve, that user is a problem until they stay long enough to repay the acquisition cost. If they cancel after 2 months, the platform bought a customer and rented them for a loss. That is why subscriber growth can be a dangerous vanity metric. A platform can add millions of users through discounts, free trials, bundles, or promotional pricing, while making each customer less profitable. The number goes up. The economics get worse. The first hidden money layer is pricing architecture. Platforms use several tiers: ad-supported, standard, premium, family for K, mobile-only, annual plans, and bundles. The goal is not merely to charge more. It is to discover what each customer is willing to pay without giving the most expensive service to someone who would have stayed on the cheapest one. The second layer is advertising. An ad-supported plan can make a customer more valuable than a subscription-only customer if the viewer watches frequently, and the platform can sell targeted impressions at a strong rate. The platform earns a smaller fee from the user and a second payment from the advertiser. But advertising requires scale and attention. A viewer who leaves the room while a commercial plays is not worth as much as a viewer who stays engaged. A platform with a small audience may have excellent content and still struggle because advertisers want reach, measurement, and predictable inventory. This is why free streaming platforms often behave like television networks. They do not need the newest movie in the world. They need enough familiar content to keep the viewer from leaving while the ad load runs. Then there is the data layer. A traditional broadcaster knows a program was transmitted. An OTT platform can observe what people start, stop, skip, finish, search for, abandon, replay, and watch next. That data helps with recommendations, pricing, marketing, scheduling, and content decisions. Data does not magically tell you which show will become a hit. It tells you where friction exists and which audiences behave differently. The platform can use that information to reduce wasted marketing, target promotions, and decide whether a project deserves another season. But even data is not the deepest layer. That title belongs to the content library and the right strategy. A platform that owns or controls valuable intellectual property can monetize it across several windows. A film may begin in theaters, move to premium rental, appear on a subscription service, license to another market, generate merchandise, and return years later as catalog content. A series can be watched repeatedly, dubbed into new languages, sold to airlines, and used to attract customers long after its original release. The strongest companies do not think of content as a monthly expense. They think of it as a portfolio of intellectual property with different earning lives. A new show is a risky launch. A proven library title is a lower-risk retention asset. A famous franchise is a customer acquisition asset. A niche documentary may be a brand asset. A live sports event is a temporary traffic asset. The owner has to know which job each piece of content is performing. The wrong platform buys expensive content because it is famous. The right platform buys content because it solves a specific economic problem. Does it bring new subscribers? Keep existing ones? Raise advertising time? Reduce churn in a particular country? Improve the value of a bundle? Create a franchise that can live across several businesses? That question is more important than whether the show wins an award. Now let's talk about churn, because this is where the subscription dream becomes a treadmill. Churn is the percentage of customers who cancel during a period. If a platform has low churn, it can spend aggressively to acquire new users because existing users provide a stable revenue base. If churn rises, the platform has to replace customers just to stand still. A customer may cancel because they finished a show, because the price increased, because a competitor has a new release, because the household budget tightened, or because they rotated subscriptions. This is subscription cycling, paying for one service for a month, canceling it, and moving to another. The platform cannot solve churn with one hit forever. The customer now expects an endless pipeline. Every month is a new test of whether the service deserves another payment. That creates an ugly content calendar. Spend too little, and users leave. Spend too much, and the content bill destroys the margin. A show that is watched heavily may still be unprofitable if it was too expensive. A cheap catalog series may be incredibly valuable if it quietly keeps people subscribed. The most profitable content is not always the content people talk about. Sometimes it is the show people leave running while they cook dinner. Then there is one of the strangest costs in the business: customer acquisition. Platforms buy digital ads, television campaigns, app store placement, celebrity partnerships, free trials, discounts, and bundle subsidies. They spend money to persuade a customer to pay for a service that can be canceled in 3 clicks. A traditional cable company may make it painful to leave. An OTT platform often has to earn the next month every month, and that is before the platform enters a new country. Localization requires subtitles, dubbing, payment methods, local marketing, regulatory compliance, tax handling, customer support, and content rights that may be owned by someone else in that territory. A show you control in one market may be unavailable in another because a regional license was sold years ago. Global scale is not one launch. It is a patchwork of permissions. None of this means the business is safe. It is exposed to technology shifts, regulation, piracy, talent, competition, and the economics of attention. The first risk is platform dependence. If a service relies on a major app store, smart TV manufacturer, mobile carrier, or connected device ecosystem, the distributor can demand a fee, change the rules, or promote its own competing service. The platform owns the customer relationship only if it can reach the customer without renting the doorway. The second risk is content inflation. When several wealthy platforms compete for the same creators, sports leagues, and studios, rights prices rise. A company may win the deal and lose the economics. Exclusivity feels powerful until the annual payment becomes larger than the value of the audience it attracts. The third risk is regulation. Governments can impose local content quotas, privacy rules, advertising limits, child safety requirements, taxation, data storage obligations, and restrictions on mergers. The platform may be global, but it answers to every country where it operates. The fourth risk is account sharing and piracy. Blocking unauthorized access can reduce leakage, but aggressive enforcement can anger legitimate households. The platform has to choose between convenience and control, and the best answer changes as competitors make sharing easier. The fifth risk is attention itself. Viewers are not loyal to a screen. They are loyal to whatever is most interesting right now. Short video, gaming, social media, podcasts, live events, or a new platform that has the show everyone is discussing. The company is competing for hours, not just subscriptions. So how do experienced owners protect themselves against all of this? They stop thinking like app builders and start thinking like media ecosystems. The first move is to own valuable intellectual property. A platform that merely rents content is permanently exposed to renewal prices and competitors. A platform that owns franchises, formats, characters, sports relationships, or a distinctive creator community has more control over its future. The second move is to combine revenue models. Subscription revenue is predictable when retention is strong. Advertising monetizes price-sensitive viewers. Transactions can charge for premium releases. Licensing can generate cash from content that no longer needs to be exclusive. Bundles can reduce churn by making the service part of a larger relationship. The third move is to use the platform as a distribution network for more than video. Music, podcasts, games, live shopping, events, merchandise, and memberships can all increase the value of the customer relationship. The goal is not to add random features. It is to make the platform harder to cancel because it has become part of the household's routine. The fourth move is disciplined content allocation. The best operators do not ask whether a show is prestigious. They ask what economic job it performs, how many customers it can reach, how long it can retain them, and whether the rights can be reused across markets. And the smartest operators keep enough cash to survive a weak content cycle. A platform that must slash production during a downturn can create the very churn it was trying to avoid. The worst time to stop feeding the library is when every competitor is fighting for attention. So after all of that, what does an OTT platform actually make? Let's do the honest math. And let's do both years because the gap between them is the whole story. Here's the good year. You operate a global platform with 25 million paying subscribers, a growing ad-supported tier, and a library that mixes owned originals with efficient licensed content. The average customer pays $11 per month after discounts and bundles. Advertising adds a second layer of revenue. Churn is controlled because new releases arrive consistently, and the service has several shows that viewers return to repeatedly. Annual revenue can pass $3 billion. Content, technology, marketing, payment fees, customer support, and administration consume most of it. But the platform has enough scale to spread technology costs over millions of users. It owns a few valuable franchises, sells advertising efficiently, and renews content based on measured retention rather than panic. It produces a meaningful operating profit. That profit funds more content, which strengthens retention, which makes customer acquisition cheaper. The flywheel begins to turn. Now here's the bad year. A major competitor launches an exclusive hit. Your flagship series is delayed. Content costs rise. A price increase causes churn. Advertising rates weaken because the economy slows. A platform partner raises its fee, and a rights holder refuses to renew the show that kept older subscribers engaged. You spend more on marketing to replace canceled customers, but the customers you acquire through discounts are less profitable. Your viewing hours fall. Your ad inventory becomes less valuable. You still have to fund technology, security, localization, customer support, and the next slate of productions. The same platform that looked like a growth machine can swing from strong profit to a large loss. The app still works. The brand still exists. The economics have changed. The difference between those 2 years is not whether people still watch television. They do. The difference is subscriber lifetime value, churn, content cost, advertising demand, and whether the platform owns enough of its future to avoid paying rent on every popular show. That's the volatility trap. Revenue arrives monthly. Content bills arrive in giant checks. So, is it worth it? This is not a business for someone who wants a clean software multiple and a passive subscription stream. It demands capital, content judgment, engineering depth, legal discipline, distribution power, and the nerve to spend heavily before anyone knows whether a show will become the thing people cannot stop talking about. You are running a technology company, a studio, an advertising network, a payment system, a customer service operation, and a global rights department, all while competing against every other source of human attention. But for the operators who survive that gauntlet, an OTT platform can become one of the most powerful distribution businesses in the modern economy. The platform owns the relationship. The library keeps working after release. The data improves the next decision. The bundle lowers churn. Advertising and licensing create revenue beyond the monthly fee. That is the media flywheel. It is also fragile. Buy the wrong rights, overspend on the wrong shows, ignore churn, depend on someone else's device, or confuse subscriber growth with profit, and the flywheel runs backward. Because that's the thing, the fantasy gets exactly backwards. You pictured a business that makes money by putting videos behind a login screen. The login screen was never really the product. It is the entry point into a controlled relationship with a viewer's time, habits, data, wallet, and attention. The content earns the click. The platform earns the routine. The routine creates the lifetime value. The owner who understands that can compound for decades, one subscriber, one franchise, and one retained month at a time. The owner who thinks the app is the business discovers the truth too late. An OTT platform is not a library on a screen. It is a subscription economy built around attention.